Why are so many sellers hesitating to list? Well, in the winter, keep in mind, it was because they were thinking, where am I going to go? There's not enough inventory. Right now, there is still an aspect of that, but inventory is lifting. It's just not anywhere near any historic norms. It's historically low still, even though it's increasing, even though buyer demand has backed off a little bit. Anthony Lamacchia here with Crushing Real Estate, and I want to talk about this for a couple of minutes because this is a hot topic right now. You know, the amount of sellers that are just kind of sitting around. Put yourself in a sell-buy's shoes, someone who's selling and buying. Not just a sell, not just I'm selling, I'm moving out of state. I'm selling, I'm going to rent somewhere and live the rest of my life. Sell buys. It got more expensive for them on both ends, literally, and they're just realizing that. Realtors that know what they're doing are going on listing appointments right now, saying to sellers, okay, Mr. Seller, here's the comparative properties in the area. This is what they've sold for. But things have changed since these properties went under agreement. Back in February when that one went under contract, and back in January when that one went under contract, and back in late February when that house went under contract, there was 3 houses for sale in town. Right now, there's 25. So inventory's up like 9 times, right? 8 times the amount. That creates more competition for you, Mr. Seller. So that's one reason we can't be quite as aggressive with the price as this comp makes us think maybe we can. The other reason is interest rates are now 6%. Okay? Interest rates are now 6%. And at that time, they were 3.5%. That's a difference of 2.5%. That takes someone's affordability and substantially decreases it. Back then, $600,000 house, 3.5% mortgage. I'm making up numbers, but I don't have a sheet in front of me. Mortgage payment was $2,100 a month with 20% down. Now, Mr. Seller, it's $3,800 a month. That's a massive difference because these sellers, these buyers don't have as much money. So literally sell buys are getting stung on both ends. They're feeling like, wait a second. Yeah, I was dying to move. Great to see there's a few more choices, but now I have to spend more money out of pocket, and I also can't, you're telling me I can't get as much for my home as I could have 4 months ago? Yeah, you can't. I mean, really, let's be honest. A seller right now is not going to sell for as much as they would have had they listed in late January, February, early March. They're not. We all, us realtors, tell sellers, I've been telling sellers for 12 years. I started going on the news 12 years ago talking about the market, which, by the way, I have a live segment tomorrow morning for Boston Friends on Fox 25 at 9:45 talking about the market. But we've all been telling sellers for years to list in the winter. That's how you make the most money. Very few listen. Well, this year, it proved to be true more than ever, and it's always been true. So be aware of that. Remember what I've been talking about. In this type of market, you have to be totally aware of the reasons that buyers and sellers are behaving the way they are. This is a classic scenario of, okay, it's clear, we're in for a housing slowdown, we're in for an economic slowdown, right? Stock market today went down 700 points, right? People freaking out. We've seen some buyers bail out of deals. If you're buying a home to live in long term, why in God's name would you bail out? I remember when that happened at the beginning of COVID. Very beginning of COVID, there were buyers bailing out of deals, and I literally said live on our company Facebook, I said, those that are doing that are going to regret it. They regretted it. Prices went up 35% by then, since then. And here's the deal, folks. Even if we did see some sort of price correction, let's say, God forbid, we saw a 10% correction in the next year or two. Okay, so when we look back over a 4-year span, prices went up 25%. I mean, come on, folks. Like, you've got to keep this stuff in mind, and you need to be able to articulate that to your buyers and explain it. See, now being an expert matters. We spent 2 years with, if you're working for sellers, working with sellers, you were spoiled. When you were working with buyers, it was very difficult to get an offer accepted, but it was easy to have a motivated buyer because everybody was pouring in to buy homes. Everybody. Now we're in a different market. As I always say, when you educate, you attract. When you educate, you attract. You need to learn the facts, learn what's going on, learn the why behind the behaviors out of the buyers and sellers, like I just explained to you with sell buys, and be aware of those things so that you can understand how they're feeling. You can understand how they feel from where they're sitting and explain it to them. Now, you can talk to them about the fact that, hey, Mr. Seller, I know you can't get quite as much for your home as we saw this quick, blip on the radar this early spring, but it isn't like prices have fallen out, so you shouldn't be aggravated about it, right? But the home that you buy, much less likely to have multiple offers. Now, Mr. Seller, it depends where you're buying. Multiple offers still exist. We're still seeing multiple offer situations, but it is decreasing, which it normally does seasonally as we get closer to summer, but it's decreasing a bit faster because of the interest rate increase. Okay, so think all those things through. Be aware of why a sell-buy would behave that way, and keep tuning in, folks. I'm going to be doing more videos for you. We're going to be talking about the market more. I'm debating right now. I might do a full market update Saturday morning. I haven't decided, or I might wait till later next week or the week after. We'll see. I want to see what happens with rates. I want to see what happens with markets, etc. All right, folks. Hope you're doing well. Happy home selling. Have a good night.